Welcome in, everybody, for Saturday Night Racing League. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
Again, well, thank you all for being here.
32 cars, green flag at Daytona. And it is a cluster back here for the 15th position. Bailey Turner will lead him now.
Turner, Stravato, Jeff Wright. We see some lockup, big lockup. Rewind for seconds. Sturgeon clears all of them.
Comes down a little bit here in the entry of one.
Porter might just try to run him out of room here. Oh, they put him in the wall. They're going to crash. They both crash. Ray Massey's going to win it. Are you kidding me?
Under alley down the backstretch. The Rock. The track in North Carolina. The NASCAR's decided they need to go back to. Live here tonight for Saturday Night Racing League and presented by M&J Distributors. It's Rockingham, North Carolina for week number 7. Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper, alongside Connor Horn all season long. Connor, we've got another one, a good one in store, I think. It's this kind of preliminary to short track racing, but still intermediate in between. I think the passing will be good, and this B car has been great so far.
It's a little bit bigger than Rockingham and Iowa. Well, Rockingham. It's a little bit bigger than Richmond and Iowa, but it's just drives completely different from either of those tracks. Still pretty bumpy, even with the new surface on the new update to this racetrack, but it's going to drive a little different than what we've seen the first 2 races that the series has gone here. The outside line, not sure if it's going to be very viable. You're going to be really fighting for the white line around the bottom of the racetrack, I think, but you're still going to be dealing with the bumps. Exit of turn 2 still going to be sketchy, and the action's still going to be crazy. We saw that last season. It was a crazy finish last season, a lot of crashes. I think we saw a flip down the back straightaway. Joshua Banks, I believe, took victory. You just never know what's going to happen at the Rock.
Absolutely. It's a great place, and of course, track map displayed on your screen here, opened back October 31st, 1965. 1 mile in distance, 22 degrees of banking. So a very unique racetrack in of itself, and I think we're getting ready to go trackside and get the grid up on your screen. So let's do that now. Starting on the top spot is going to be Justin Ritchie in the number 55. A 23.601 to put it on the pole. J.R. Shepard with a 23.603, 2 thousandths of a second. He'll start on the outside. Dakota Floyd and Joshua Banks will be row number 2, with Elliott Butler and Bailey Turner 5th and 6th. 7th spot going to Christopher Hodges. Then you have Philip Brewer in 8th. 9th spot with Kenny Kibbe, and rounding out the top 10 with Ray Massey in the 23.
11th place, Seth Hatchell, that 8 car in 11th, trying to have a better result than last week. AJ Stravato will start near the back of the field, or I guess mid-pack of the field, further back than he wants to be in 12th. Casey Licata's 13th position. Bryce Shoemaker, 54 in the 14th position. And Nathan Ferrata, the 77 car, in the 15th position. John Sanu starting back in the 16th position. Caleb Weekly, pretty high in the points to start this season, but he'll need to turn around after last week. He starts 17th. Michael Jones at 22 starts 18th. Ben Lafter 19th in the 64 car with the new color still on that car. And then Max Cost, I believe a new paint scheme on that car. He'll start in 20th.
21st spot is going to go to Chuck Sweeting. We have Connor Horn here in the race control booth. And Roderick Vaklavic 23rd. Brandon Wallace, these drivers electing not to take a time here. Stephen Davis and Austin Belke starting 25th and 26th. And rounding out your field here, 26 cars is actually Mark McFadden in the number 5. It's actually week 8 here that we're going live. I think. Could be wrong.
Close enough.
Something like that. Pretty deep into the season so far.
Only third race at Rockingham. New surface. We talked about it. A little bit of a different update to this track. It's more up to date. Safer mirrors around the track, so that's safer. But this track might race a lot different.
With the update on this car, yeah, I would think that we probably will see a little bit more side-by-side action with the repave. Let's find out. Here for 150 laps, live from Rockingham. It's Saturday Night Racing League. Six tire sets available, 5 over the wall here tonight. As J.R. Shepard will come by, it looks like going to lead lap number 1. Bailey Turner and Dakota Floyd battling for 4th position as we come off of turn 4.
And that's what I kind of expected to see, is everything kind of single file out near the bottom more so than you would usually see. I mean, you're going to see guys try to venture to the top. Elliott Butler, no surprise there. There's another car in the background trying that outside line, but I think the bottom's going to be preferred. You kind of want to enter turn 1 on the white line, let it drift up maybe to the middle, turn it back down at the very exit of turn 2. 3 and 4, you should be wrapping it all the way around pretty much. And how many times do we talk about the pole sitter not leading lap 1? It's a curse. You just can't get off the line. Justin Ritchie didn't even stay second. He went back to 3rd.
Butler still battling. Dakota Floyd lost some position there, trying to get around with Bailey Turner. Ritchie all the way back to 3rd, as you mentioned, started up on the pole. Maybe in a little bit of conservation mode. Very early in this race, Kenny Kibbe going to work. Kibbe not having to start as far back in the field here, so that should help the 14 get a solid day.
We'll see if he can parlay that into a solid day. He kind of had a pretty decent day last week. Had some moments here and there. Remember, he almost won Darlington. Probably should have won Darlington with the way it was going to end up. And now he's second in points. And in line, if things go his way tonight, could be the points leader. No Jeff Wright. He's out there watching races in Kansas, I guess. I mean, a pretty decent track to watch a race at. But he's not here, which means we should, barring something crazy, have a new points leader with a little bit of a weaker field. So a lot more points at stake. You're not going to lose as many points if you finish near the back tonight. So that's something Kenny Kibbe is going to be looking at. Bailey Turner, Stravato, Hatchell, all those guys, even Caleb Weekly, those guys going to be looking for points tonight.
Battles continue throughout this field. We were watching back here deep with Ben Lafter and Max Cost. And you look up here with Nathan Ferrata. Casey Lacasse. Ferrata is going to go by for 13th spot. Starting to tighten up a little bit here for the 4th position. Elliott Butler has caught up to Justin Ritchie as they come by for lap 7. Looks like Elliott Butler this time by just a few ticks faster.
And Ritchie just not able to really plant the nose down to the bottom of the racetrack. He can't get that nose to point, and it's kind of costing him a lot of time. Really center exit as Butler gives him a little bit of a hip check there. Butler threw it into the corner. I think he wanted to clear Ritchie. Ritchie wasn't having any of it. Justin Ritchie, 8th in points, solid run at Phoenix. Has been having pretty decent runs here and there, but not quite enough to get further up the points picture. Actually had a pretty poor finish last week that dropped him 3 spots in points, but qualified on pole, starting to fade, maybe trying to save those tires, as almost had a battle of a lead. Banks tried to get to the inside of J.R. Shepard, could not quite do it, but Elliott Butler's up to 4th.
And think back before the repave, something that immediately comes to my mind. Joshua Banks and Joseph McWhorter fighting hard at this racetrack before we saw the smooth racing surface. And it put on a hell of a show. A lot of contact into the wall. These drivers moved each other all around this place, and I think that's kind of the characteristic that we've lost now with this repave is you don't necessarily see guys throwing haymakers into the corner anymore.
Not quite yet. We might see that later. It's still not a completely even surface, I would say. It still has a little bit of character, but not quite as much. And I think compared to what you see in the real world at this track, there's not as much pace through the corners. I think these drivers are much further on it in the corners. And in the real world, you already saw in last 2-3 weeks ago, the groove really widened out. We got close to the outside wall. I don't think we'll see that today. You're really going to be kind of limited at what you can do in those bottom two lanes. And if you're on the outside, you're going to be pitching the heck out of that guy on the inside, and that's where you could run into trouble trying to pinch someone to the bottom. If they can't hold it down there, you're probably going to be wrecking. You might tumble down Thunder Alley.
And Kimmy continues to be on the move. Up one spot now, looking for 7th. Put him up 2 positions. Seth Hatchell also on the move, up 2. Biggest mover so far. Ferrata up to 10th from 15th.
Yeah, I saw down the back straightaway that battle kind of forming. Kibbe kind of got a little bit of a semi-block by Brewer, but it was nothing crazy. And Nathan Ferrata, he really didn't get to show anything last week. He started at the back. Whenever he was starting to make spots up, he either get kind of screwed by yellow or he would be the yellow, or maybe would have caused the yellow. But a much better qualifying effort as there was smoke in turn 1. I'm not sure what that was from. I don't see anyone off track, but Ferrata much further up the field today.
Haven't seen anybody pushed off the track here, so
it was Mark McFadden upon further review, lap 12. He had a slide with him and Austin Belkey, but everyone kept it straight. I don't think anyone has damage, so we stay green. Kibbe's been working over Brewer the past 3 laps. He just keeps getting to the inside, but this is what we're talking about. If you just pinch that driver to the inside off, and you can kind of use them a little bit, which is kind of weird to say you can use someone up when you're on the outside of them, but you can kind of take advantage of them because they're not going to want to throttle up off the corner and run into you, especially this early in the race. You can kind of pinch them down the track, pinch their exit off so they can't get on the throttle, but right there, it just didn't work for Brewer. He had no grip out of turn 2, and look at him try to block that inside line. He couldn't quite do it. Ferrata sent it down into turn number 3 to get to his inside.
He drove below the apron there for a moment. That will help Brewer get the exit off the corner. Ferrata not able to complete that pass. Kind of ran out of racetrack there on the entry. Now Hatchell in the peak, almost 3 wide there for a moment. This battle continues for the 8th through 10th position. You can throw Chris Hodges into this mix as well.
It's almost like old-style Martinsville. We didn't see it this season. That outside line worked pretty well at Martinsville, but you kind of see that conveyor belt kind of build up around the bottom of the racetrack. You got that one driver who'd be stuck on the outside trying to get down and loses 3-4 positions as there's some contact there. That's the situation Philip Brewer's in right now. If he doesn't get back down, he's in big trouble, and he blocked the heck out of Ferrata into turn number 3, and Ferrata did not appreciate it. He sent them up the track into a wall.
And Brewer moved out of the way. Ferrata goes by on the inside. Another position gain for the 77, but that was a little early for something like that. The block and then, sending a guy.
It's kind of early both ways. I get you want to protect the inside line. That's going to be the name of the game. But lap 15, a little early to be blocking. And I think I don't really hate what Ferrata did. If you're going to block me like that, you kind of got to expect to get the bumper at some point. And that was as polite as Ferrata could have been with it. He didn't wreck him. He just kind of sent them up the track, got him away. I will see you later probably. But I think early to block, maybe early for a bump. But I think the block definitely deserved the bump. That was as harmless as it gets.
All right, so we're looking at the top 3, kind of spreading out a little bit here. It's still close between Banks and Turner, but Shepard has pulled away a full second ahead of the 35 and 24. So logging some laps, 19 led. Shepard has had this success before, Connor.
He certainly has, and you kind of, don't know what maybe to expect from Banks here. This could be him saving the tires on Bailey Turner's bumper. Jared Shepard could just be this fast. He was 0.2 of a second faster last time by. We'll just have to see how it kind of evens out here, see how it plays out. I'm not sure these drivers can get the lap 75 on fuel. If they can, it's going to be a stretch on tires because fall-off's still pretty severe here, even with the new track surface. Joshua Banks' fastest time at 23.9. He's already 1.4 seconds off of that time, so the fall-off's going to be severe if you try to stretch it to lap 75. You might see drivers just commit to a two-stop. Lap 50, they would come down to pit, but pitting here, you're definitely losing a lap, maybe two. It's a big risk.
Watching side by side a little bit further back, outside the top 10. Ray Massey, Chris Hodges. This is for 13th. Massey will go by. Licata's just got by a moment ago, but they're catching up to the 44 of Brewer, and here comes Caleb Weekly.
Kind of see stack-ups here and there because it's going to be very hard to pass tonight as Mark McFadden's pulled it off, but it's going to be hard to pass tonight, so you're going to see drivers holding up maybe a stack of 3-4 plus cars every now and then. This is kind of one of those gaggles with Dakota Floyd where he just kind of got in front of Kenny Kibbe he's been in front of Kenny Kibbe. Kibbe just got that pass on Elliott Butler, but you're going to see packs here and there where he got that one driver, kind of the cork in the bottle, holding drivers up. I don't think that's Floyd right now. I think Philip Brewer may be one of those holding up Seth Hatchell a little bit, but maybe it's the other way around because both of them go side by side.
Yeah, Brewer was ahead of that group a moment ago, was racing with Kibbe, Butler, Ferrata. We saw how that went. But of course, falls back here to Hatchell, hemorrhaging some spots. As you said, blockades every now and then that group these guys back together, and then you see 2 or 3 passes, then it single files back out.
And you're already seeing, this short into a run. If you can make it to lap 75, you're only a third into a run. We're already seeing big fall off, and we're seeing drivers start to fade. And Elliott Butler's one of them. He's starting to really hemorrhage positions, way off pace in that 6 car. Obviously, the 44, Philip Brewer's been fading back. You're starting to see guys like Jarrett Shepard drop lap time. Banks has started to pick it up a little bit, but I'd say right now that 6 car is the one in trouble.
Side by side again here for the 9th position. Brewer's going to go back, and this is where we meet in the middle. The 2 cars that were hemorrhaging spots. Brewer gets the best of Butler and will go by to maintain this top 10, at least for the moment. AJ Stravato starting to pick up pace. Last time by, half a second faster than the cars in front of him. This time around, about 3/4 tenths.
The only driver in front of him he was not faster than was the guy in clean air, J.R. Shepard. So, I mean, AJ knows how to save his stuff. It's just hard to save stuff while also staying behind drivers. I mean, that dirty air is going to hurt your tires no matter what you do, no matter how soft you drive the car. But every now and then, you're going to have to push just a little bit to get to the inside of drivers here because it is tough to generate any sort of run on any driver. And Elliott Butler and him have had some run-ins here and there this season, nothing major. Butler just lets him by, and you can see how far off the pace that 6 car is.
Hot is side by side now for 11th spot. And we didn't really get into the pre-race and have a chance to talk about it, but here's a look at your points picture coming into this week. 10 points ahead of Kenny Kibbe is Jeff Wright, and as you mentioned, Jeff Wright not here this week. So most likely going to take over the points lead as one of these drivers. Realistically, I'd say Kibbe or Turner. Probably Turner based off how they're running right now, but Kibbe is catching up.
Say right now, I think if my math is correct, it'd be Kibbe by a point, but they should jump Jeff Wright no matter what tonight, and then Stravato, Hatchell, all those guys just get a chance to catch up to the 48 a little bit because everyone else 4th on back is 37 points or more behind. So, Jeff Wright missing a race, it lets them kind of get a little bit closer into that regular season points lead picture.
Hodges getting passed by Stephen Davis. Weekly was completing a pass on the 54 of Shoemaker. Will work to 13th spot now, up 4 positions. You mentioned it in the pre-race. Weekly up high in the points to start the season, was points leader at one point. He needs to have a week now where he can maintain this top 5. Ever since he took the points lead, he's had 2 bad weeks in a row, and it's just continued to drop.
Yeah, Caleb, all he has to focus on is Caleb being consistent weekly. I mean, that's all he really has to focus on doing. And yes, I did that on purpose. You know, he's had a few bad races here and there, but he's still top 5 in points. It's kind of been an inconsistent start to the season for a lot of drivers. And, you know, we're 8 races into the season, including tonight, but it's still early in the season. We have way over half the season to go. So there's plenty of time to get on track, get some consistency in there. And I think just running his race where he is right now in the top 15 would go a long way towards doing that.
Continuing the trend here. 44 of Brewer now getting passed by the 33 of Stravado. Stravado, again, has impressed me. He's been faster than a lot of this top 10, and that time by he was the fastest car on the racetrack, a 25.660. Don't know if we'll hit green flag pit stops before he can get, you know, up into that top 3 and even have a shot at the pass, but he's definitely saved his stuff.
Oh, Ferrata and Hatchell, if they keep doing that, he's going to get one of them, and he might have a shot at Hatchell here because the 8 tried to get to the inside of Ferrata, and Ferrata, it was kind of a tight space. Ferrata shut the door just late enough to where Hatchell had to back out, not cause a crash there, but no doubt 33 strong. But even though he's faster, he could be so much faster if he wasn't in his dirty air, I think. I mean, that time by alone, he ran a 78, and the race leaders were not that far faster. So I think that 33 is definitely the fastest on the track right now. He just doesn't have the clean air to really fully show it.
Yeah, and once you get past 6-7 cars, he's had to run back from 13th position, 12th, somewhere in there, so it takes its toll on the tires. I think that's part of the situation we were seeing. They got racing really heavy there at the start of this thing, and you watch the 6 of Butler and the 44 of Brewer lose out even quicker than everyone else. That almost contact off of turn 2 between the 8 and the 44. We've seen this before.
The track looks like it has a lot of room, but it really doesn't. Down the straightaways, you do not want to be any lower than you have to be so you can get that arc into the corner. And you're sending it into the corners. The cars load up pretty harshly into the corner. It's why there's so much rubber on both ends of the track on corner entry. And then you can't really venture that far up the track because there's bumps at the top of the track where you might be in trouble. So you're really just door to door of someone when you're side by side here.
Red from the top 3 continues to grow. 1.8 seconds now for Shepherd. He's led every single lap we've completed so far, and will dictate the pace for pit stops very soon. I would imagine probably within the next 20 laps or so, you might see our first stop today.
Yeah, if those guys who are really struggling long run, like the 6 of Elliott Butler, Justin Ritchie's lap times haven't been looking great, I would not be surprised if they just go to a 2-stop, whether it's the right strategy or not. If you can make the lap 75, and if you can keep your tires on it that long, I think the 1-stop would probably still be faster. I don't know if the fall-off's enough to make that extra stop be worth it if you pit 2 times instead of 1.
Oh, right
this
now
is
the
dicey.
fall-off just shy of 2 seconds for some of these drivers. Shepherd a little off the pacer last time.
Well, he ran a 25.61.
This time, he's good. Yeah, it just updated. But last time, he had a 26-second lap time.
Yeah, to me, he had a 25.79 last time by. He was still faster than 35. So either way, if he does not fall off at any point, I think what he's proven is clean air is king. I mean, I thought it looked like Joshua Banks was trying to lay back, maybe put himself in clean air himself, then drive back up to the 98. I don't know. 2 seconds is a lot to gain back, and he lost a lot more time out of turn number 2 as well. I mean, he's losing 0.2 a lap. So that 98, he's fast. That's shorter tracks. We've seen it, not just in this car, but the Gen 4 and a little bit in the Cup car. 98's good.
Back here, and Elliott Butler is just continuing to lose spots, all the way back to 18th now. And for every lap this race goes green, it seems like the 6 car has lost a position or lost a lot of ground. I don't know if he got damage from something. Something's wrong with this car. He's overdrove it or he's hit something.
I think he's overdrove it. There's no damage on that car. It just looks like he's whipping the wheel so far left to get it turned. He's 7 to 8 tenths lower than Jared Shepard, who's been leading this race, I just got to imagine that right front is completely cooked.
It looks like right now, the way the 86 and 6 go side by side, they're losing more ground to Max Cost, who's up 3 spots, following Stefan Davis, who has a 3-second gap, 15th to 16th position. 3 seconds almost. Chuck Sweeting up here with Caleb Weekly. Weekly falls back a spot from the last time we mentioned his name. And it's Ferrata going back to work. 77 with the inside of your pole center. Richie starting to fade as well.
He's kind of got, I think, a Warren right front as well, and B, he's now stuck on the outside line, which at a track like this is going to further hurt that right front tire being stuck on the outside lane. His best bet is just let these guys go at this point and just get in line, but not willing to do that, at least trying to salvage something, get in front of Hatchell, almost contact there, but he's just not quite able to do it. I mean, you know, last time we went here, this updated track was not how it was. It kind of had grip right next to the outside wall, and there's kind of too bumpy on the bottom to make ground up. That's just not the case now.
So still some battles all over this racetrack. Turner has caught back up to Banks. It was separated by about 4 or 5 tenths. Back down to just 2. And there comes the 35. Banks down pit road.
Well, that definitely is a two-stop strategy. Woo, he was a little deep there, but I think he got in cleanly. But that definitely tells me it's a two-stop strategy, at least for him today. We'll see if anyone can get to that 75 mark, but no doubt he wanted to come in early and kind of has to at least try to get the Jared Shepard. Jared Shepard can kind of do what he wants with this big of a lead. Comes Justin Ritchie pitting. Not surprised to see him pit. 3.4 second lead. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, Shepard in the clean air, dominating so far. And he can continue to stay out here. I think he's in no hurry to come down and take these tires. He pulls out 3.5, almost 4 seconds now. If I were him, I would stay out for the end of this fuel tank.
Say right that time around, Bailey Turner got some clean air and gained on him. Maybe we'll see here if the 24 is faster consistently, but definitely seemed like the 35 was trying the tire save and it just didn't work. But then Bailey Turner's going to come down, right, as we were talking about that. So 24 is going to try to at least gain some ground back on that 98. You know, if you're the 98, you don't want to stay out too long and lose that clean air and that lead completely. But you can definitely afford to give it a few laps so you can have some fresher tires. You can't cut it too close.
Yeah. Well, based off lap times here, with Shepard running a 26 flat pretty much here, and the 35 of Banks back out on the racetrack just ran a 23.9. That's right around that 2-second mark of fall off we were talking about. Every lap he stays out here, well, you saw that lead a moment ago. It's probably dwindled down to nothing at this point.
And, we kind of got a gauge of how much time you lose. About a lap and a half is what Joshua Banks lost, which I kind of thought he'd lose more. As 98's going to stay out another lap, I would have kind of probably brought it down there just to be even on the stints and try to keep that lead. But he's going to go out at least one more lap. No one else really responded. Oh, Dakota Floyd did. He pit. So it brings another driver at the front down. But a lot of drivers stretching this longer than I would have thought they would.
If you can make it to that 75 mark, other people were going to try it. So if you're Shepard, maybe you're thinking about that. You know, you've got Stravato still out there, Ferrata. A lot of this top 10, they're within striking distance if they run a one-stop race and Shepard does a two-stop. So maybe that's what's on his mind right now.
Yeah, I'd say usually when you're the leader, you're fine with doing that extra stop because you're this far out in front. And maybe he just kind of knows that the fuel can make it, and he's just going to make it work and hope the two-stop isn't faster. I mean, I feel like you would have pit by now if you were doing two stops, but I'm not the one driving. But I think the one thing that can work out for him here is that you're going to get mixed strategies, and you know what that kind of means is you're going to see drivers on faster tires catching drivers with much older tires, and when those two strategies converge, it could cause crashes, and that would work in Shepard's favor if he can get a lot of drivers a lap down, like the 35 and the 24.
And right now, Banks the free pass. Actually, it's Roger Baklavic. That's the free pass. He's about 6 seconds ahead of Joshua Banks. Baklavic in 19th spot. So still 18 cars yet to pit. And here at the 7. And actually, Baklavic went a lap down naturally on pace, so it wasn't no pit stop for the 7.
Yeah, he's just struggling a little bit tonight. Elliott Butler's about to pass him, I believe, for position. Maybe not. Elliott Butler actually went a few more laps down, an extra lap down as Jared Shepard. So one thing about staying out longer and have to get through some lap traffic, and then probably in 15 popped the wall hard there, but I think in a few laps he'll have to let some lap cars go and give up the position to the 24 and 35 and even the 6 in a little bit here.
Shoemaker, Davis, Lacana, Sanu, and Cost came down for service. Davis, get left side tires put on now. And impressively, I haven't seen a single speeding penalty yet here, Connor. Usually this is one of those tracks that you see at least 1 or 2 pop up.
It's a tough pit entry to get to, especially when the tires wear as bad as they are. I mean, we're going to see blown right fronts. Christopher Hodges might even have a right front down with how slow he is. But it's going to be a struggle getting the tight race car slowed down and turned into pit road. And I think when we saw Banks slide on the pit road, that was a product of how much rear brake he has in it. When you're wearing the right front as hard as this setup seems to be, you're going to crank a lot of right brake in it. You might have your rear brake maybe in the 40s if you can, but it'll almost certainly be in the 50s for sure, maybe all the way down as far as you can go, and then even 3% down in the race. So I would not be surprised. Oh, there's a stack up 7s in the wall. He might have a tire down, but there's a lot of drivers who probably have that rear brake really cranked backward, and that might cause an issue on pit entry.
Take another look at this. Baklavic bounces the wall. This was in front of 2nd and 3rd position with Stravano and Kibbe, and they went 3 wide there for a moment.
Oh, yeah.
That's Cost. That was fresh tires.
Yeah, there's multiple drivers. I think the 15, is running with a tire down, or maybe a tire going down. Oh, man. Look out. Oh, hold on to it. That is not what Turner and Banks want to see, but I think there's a number of guys running around with a right front down or something because they're so slow, the 15 and the 7.
Yeah, going to have to communicate to the 7 here. He's going to have to bring it down pit road. Something's done with that car, and he almost brings out a caution on lap 61. If you are Jared Shepard right now, you're kind of in that weird transition. The 35 just unlapped himself. So now you probably don't want the yellow. Hodges in the wall
Hodges
again.
hit the wall. He has a meatball. He definitely blew a tire. If you have the meatball flag, he definitely blew a tire. You can kind of hear it when that tire goes down. There is an audio cue. You can't see it, but you can kind of hear when you're kind of out of rubber on that right front. The 7, if he doesn't have a tire down, he's darn close. As you know, we're about 15 laps to halfway, and J.R. Shepard still kind of a healthy lead on the 35.
Bravado 5.2 back. Got around Kibbe. Working on Michael Jones now in the 22. Continuing this 63 laps on the stint. Half the field is on a 2-stop strategy. The other half still out on the racetrack.
I think the 15 did bring it to pit lane. 7 is still out there. The 99 has started to really slow down. This is almost like what we see in the Bristol night race, like we saw last season with cars just blowing tires. Even though it doesn't happen as quick as it does in the real world, that 7 needs to get off the track and pit for tires, I would think, soon.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you, Connor. He's going to bring out a yellow. These guys are closing in on him 4 seconds faster.
You can just tell how slow he is in the corner. That something's wrong with that car.
We got the leader, J.R. Shepard, coming up on it now. I don't like this. I don't like that the 7's still out there. And
right in front of Banks, and that's going to hurt him just a little bit.
And it won't be intentional. I know for Baklavic, he's doing the best he can to stay out of the way, but it's such a closing rate That's very difficult as a driver to judge. Here we go.
Well, now-
Here, bringing it in.
Yeah, I think that was a perfect timing to bring it in. I think he just ran out of rubber completely off pace. The 99, I think, is in trouble of that. I saw another car backing up, maybe the 22. It's kind of in the same situation. It's kind of funny. I really haven't seen a race like this at Rockingham. Tires wear here, but I've usually never seen a car this tight to the point where we're seeing blown right fronts. We see this at Dover a lot in any car we go to.
And my other question, too, it's just curiosity. It doesn't seem like everyone that's stayed out this far is having that issue. You know, a lot of tracks, sometimes you can't avoid it. You run a certain distance, a certain amount of laps, and the tires just give up no matter how you're driving.
And, you know, it's kind of a product of how you drive the car. If you're driving hard on the right front, entering corners fast, and really getting on the throttle on exit, you're going to blow that right front tire every single time on a run that goes this long with a setup this tight. And I just got to assume a lot of those drivers who either to pit or have blown tires like the 15, the 7, are just driving into the corners too hard and just using that right front up too much. It's easy to do here because of how tight of a setup it is and the type of track it is. Requires a decent amount of on-throttle time, but you got to be able to pace yourself.
If you want to get technical, we did have one lead change here today with the pole sitter Justin Ritchie losing that top spot before we got back to the start-finish line to complete lap 1. So it has been J.R. Shepherd all the way through with 0 cautions so far. It has been clean and green here at the Rock. Traffic a factor for a lot of these drivers. And again, half the field on a different strategy. We'll continue here to monitor the 98. He has to make it about 5 more laps to convince me halfway that he can make it to the end of this race in one stop. If he has to pitch shorter than this for fuel, he's not going to make it.
I gotta say, his long run pace is still held up solidly as Michael Jones just barely gets through, but he hasn't been the really best. He's definitely lost ground to AJ Stravato the past few laps. Yeah, Belky did hit it back there, but at 33, he's definitely been a little bit better, I think, at the very end of this long run. That was about a 5-second gap. It's really just over 3 seconds now, and 33 is not gonna be able to make that up without short pitting him a little bit, but at 98, definitely not as strong going this long, and that worries me for the strategy.
44 Brewer has an opportunity to get back into the top 5 after this cycle of pit stops. Also on the long run, single stop strategy. These drivers will probably start to mix in. I think that they're going to mesh with these drivers on the 2 top. Whoa. Seth Hatchell almost gets rear-ended there on pit road.
It's a product of not calling your pit. I'm sure that can be close all the time. Caleb Wheatley looks like they're going to pit. So these drivers pitting a little bit short of that halfway mark. I would think with how many drivers have tried this one stop, I would think they're comfortable on fuel. They just kind of want to undercut that halfway point. Shepherd's going to go another lap. Actually gained a little back on that 33 Stravato. And looking at that gap to Banks, it was, 1.5 laps when the 35 came out of the pits. It's now down to about 12.5 seconds.
On the flip side of that, Shepherd's going to come out and run probably close to a second faster a lap. And with the way Banks pitted 27 laps ago, he's going to have to make one more stop before the end of this race. So this could all work out. If we stay green, J.R. Shepherd looks like a genius. We have one caution. This strategy is thrown out the window for all these drivers. Halfway mark now for J.R. Shepherd, and most of this top 10 that hasn't pitted, I expect to come down pit road this time.
Yeah, you definitely think so. And I think one thing that works for the guys one-stopping is that the fall-off kind of levels out. 20 laps ago, J.R. Shepherd was running in the 25.9s, 26 flats, and he was still running 25.9s for the past 20 laps. So that is what works in the favor of those one-stoppers, is that they don't keep falling off, and that gap stays big between one-stop and two-stop. It kind of levels off to the point where the two-stoppers stop being as much faster at some point.
Now, another factor that I want to throw out there is the scenario at the start of this race. Shepherd was in clean air for most of that. Didn't really get to lap traffic until about 30, 40 laps into the run. This time, he's going to have cars all over the place. He's going to be on different tires. He's going to be closing a lot faster. He's going to be in dirty air at certain times. Do you think that he can be as consistent with the lap times like he was in the first stint?
I think he definitely won't be as consistent, but I still think he'll have that same speed if he's just in clean enough air. I think it'll work in his favor. So saw 3 wide out of turn 2, but they got through it. You know, this will definitely be a test of what his true pace is, having to get through traffic for sure. But I think he's still the leader on this strategy. I think he's in a good spot.
Sweeting bringing it down for service as well. Let's have Philip Brewer and Nathan Ferrata down and away in the 77. We're past the halfway mark. The cycle's out to Joshua Banks, 1.2 seconds, 1.3 ahead of Bailey Turner. 78 laps in. We're going to step aside here for just a moment. You are watching the Saturday Night Racing League live on VSPEED. When we come back, look for those volume knobs, and we'll get loud. Presented by FireStorm Racing.
Saturday Night Racing League Cup Series. What a finish! Too little, too late from behind, and Sebastian Marin, your first repeat top split winner of the qualifying series.
We knew it was just a matter of time when Hunter Sr. is victorious.
Josh Adams taking the win at Iowa. GC Spider Motorsports takes home the 1-2-3 finish.
Drivers, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
Introducing Tractor USA, the best way to buy and sell premium ag and construction equipment. Tractor USA was designed to be straightforward, simple, and affordable with zero commission and live auctions every week. Tractor USA auctions offer the finest selection of pre-owned tractors, combines, and other ag and construction equipment from across the United States and the world. Simply go to tractorusa.com to get started today.
Rock and Roll in Costume started when my son Reese was born with cancer.
So when I was 3 years old, I got my first wheelchair.
And he wanted to be Wall-E for Halloween that year. And so I knew you couldn't buy a costume to go on a wheelchair at that time. So I knew I had to build one.
My dad ended up building a Wall-E costume out of a Dell computer box.
When we were all finished, he loved it. We took pictures of it and shared it on social media. So many people started sharing it that we started getting requests from people we didn't know.
In 2015, we decided to build them for other kids because people were asking, hey, can you build them for my kid?
So we started the nonprofit organization, Rock and Roll in Costumes, and we build costumes for kids all over the nation, free of charge to the families.
Welcome back here at Rockingham as we were watching Joshua Banks lead. He's now racked up 12 laps led. Bailey Turner 1.5 seconds back. If you're just tuning in, there are two different strategies out here this evening with Bailey Turner, Joshua Banks, Dakota Floyd, Bryce Shoemaker, and a few others on this two-stop strategy. Pitted about 36 laps ago for most of the top five right now. But then you have J.R. Shepard, who led the entirety of the first first half of this race. 74 laps led to the 98. He's 12 laps into this stint, and within 13 and a half seconds, he is closing in about 6-7 tenths a lap.
And, you know, right now, when that 98 came down the pit, that's kind of what the gap was. It was about, 11 to 12 seconds, really, from the 98 to the 35, and now, vice versa. A 98's kind of in that range, but, the 35 still has about 10 laps to go before his scheduled pit stop. Maybe a little bit less than that because he kind of undercut the first stop. 35, maybe he'll undercut it again, but I would definitely say the one stop looks to be prevailing right now. And, one thing that's, I think, okay for both strategies is neither driver who's leading their strategy is in a battle. J.R. Shepard's clear of A.J. Stravato by a decent amount of time, and Joshua Banks is also clear of Bailey Turner by a decent amount of time. So, thought maybe Turner was faster if he could get cleaner air. Not really the case. 35 looks to just be better than Bailey Turner, and it looked like the 33 might have been a little bit better than J.R. Shepard, but that was at the very end of the 75-lap run, and at this point, the 98 is much stronger and can pull away.
Yeah, 98 just went past Justin Ritchie like a rocket ship for 6th position, catching up to Lakatos now. There's the 15 coming out of turn 4. And watch here, battling with the 99 of Brandon Wallace, who's on that different strategy, but Wallace a little off the pace, 2 laps down. Almost contact here between, I believe that was the 54 of Shoemaker.
Another driver doing that 2-stop strategy. It's put him into the top 5 for the time being, but not for longer, because there goes Lakatos, and Lakatos is going to have to get 5th at the line because J.R. Shepard's going to take it from him 3 wide, not trying to waste any time trying to get those positions in that clean air quick, and he almost slid into the 54. That's what Banks wants to see. He wants to see him getting slowed up just a little bit, but I don't think it'll be enough right now. I think the one stop, I think it looks like the better strategy right now.
I think it's about to prevail. I agree with you on that one, Connor. It's just the traffic's not as much of a factor. Banks did get out to clean air, so he could stop some of that hemorrhaging. But I think it'll be too little too late. For Banks, he'll have about 40 or so laps to go. I don't think that's enough time to catch back up to J.R. Shepard.
And, we're talking about neither strategy really battling for supremacy. 1, 2, and on both strategies aren't really battling one another. That's what Banks wishes could be happening right now. He wishes the 33 and 98 were close enough to be battling, slowing each other down. That's just not the case. If anything, the 24 is going to be slowed down soon because this is a mosh pit of cars into turn number 3. And they're both of them for position. I believe Michael Jones just got by Austin Belke. And I believe Elliott Butler and Max Hust just swapped positions.
Yeah, these are 4 positions, but Jones and Melke 2 laps down, 22nd, 23rd battling, and then you have 16th, 17th on the fringe. Hust gonna let the 22 go here. I'm not sure. Way up the racetrack, he might end up losing back to the 6. He will.
Oh, there goes Banks. And Banks pit right there, so he did kind of short pit a little bit. Honestly, I was thinking Bailey Turner would pit there because he's going to be in a lot of traffic that's going to be slowing him up here. So I thought he would pit, but he didn't end up doing it.
Maybe this time by.
35 already beat him into the pits. I feel like he might as well get to 100, but we'll see. See what he decides to do. He's very clearly second on this strategy. No one really close to him. Elliott Butler comes down the pit. Trying to see who is the next closest on that strategy. I think it was Dakota Floyd who is going to come down the pit. So, I mean, those 35 and 24 on the 2-stop were way ahead of everyone.
So it's about 53 laps that J.R. Shepard has to make around this place. And he's already within 7 seconds of Bailey Turner. After these drivers cycle out their second stop, they're going to be well behind. I would say at least a lap down, if not more.
And we'll see. J.R. Shepard's going to take the lead this time by. He crosses the line, and the 35 of Joshua Banks is about, I'm trying to see if he's 1 lap down. He is 1 lap down, roughly, I think. And look at all the traffic. And this is what's going to kill a strategy, having to get through these guys. And he was not able to really get to the inside of Lakatos either, so now he's really trapped. Oh, look out. See how much rear brake he has in that thing, how sideways it got. But, you know, that right there is what is going to kill him, just having to get through this traffic.
Runner down pit road in the 24. We got a caution coming out.
Yellow.
Seth Hatchell sideways.
Vaclavic's in it. Oh, and that is literally 5-10 laps later than what the 24 and 35 needed. It's not really what J.R. Shepard wanted to see either.
No, because he was going to win this race by a mile.
Really a yellow no one wanted to see. And I saw the 8 sideways, didn't really see why. Saw Ferrata leave. He's right behind Banks.
Vaclavic's here on the outside. Oh,
Hatchell, I think the closing rate was so surprising to Ferrata that he wasn't expecting to even come close to Seth Hatchell. And honestly, everyone made pretty decent saves, but Ferrata had enough damage that he had to leave the session. But I think Hatchell was just much slower, older tires.
Yeah.
Ferrata just drove it in really hard.
Yeah, that 3 wide, like poking your nose into a 3 wide situation. You have Lukanis, who just got loose out of 4. I think you read that a little differently. Maybe follow the 8, and then you can go by. You're obviously faster. Just lack of patience there from Ferrata, and I think patience wearing thin because you had so many different strategies, and some of these guys holding each other up. Bound to happen, like you mentioned earlier.
I'll say the one good thing for Joshua Banks is that he was able to get the lucky dog. He was the first driver 1 lap down when that yellow came out, and he was credited with the lucky dog, which means he does not have to start on those old tires. He can take one of his 5 extra sets here and be on even tires. He will be tail end, but he's right back in this thing. Pit road exit important for Shepard. It's the biggest race of the day for him. He's getting off in front of Stravato, and he was able to do it.
So while we have pit stop cycling here, we're going to take another quick break live on VSPEED. And this time we will bring that noise when we come
so
back.
Close.
We were. Right after this.
Donnie Kite's gonna get through it all and score his first career win in the Saturday Night Racing League Cup Series. What a finish! Too little, too late from behind, and Sebastian Marin, your first repeat top split winner of the qualifying series.
He knew it was just a matter of time when Hunter Sr. is victorious.
Josh Adams taking the win at Iowa. GC Spider Motorsports takes home the 1-2-3 finish.
Green flag back underway, and on this restart, perfect opportunity to hear the sights and sounds from Rockingham. 55 of Richie battles it out to try to stay in the top 5. He loses a few spots. Let's get loud, presented by FireStorm Racing. Pit Mile presented by FireStorm Racing. Well, we thought maybe that this caution coming out could hurt J.R. Shepard, but I think he's just in control of this race. Out in the clean air, hasn't been contested since the green dropped. You have the 35 and the 24 who restarted deep in this field with where that caution fell. And now for Shepard, he's just hoping another yellow doesn't come out. He can set sail. He's pretty much got it locked up, I think, on pace.
You know, since this new Aero update came out to this O'Reilly car, I think this is probably the track where it's mattered the most, seemingly. I mean, we don't really know because we really haven't seen how strong that 98 is because he hasn't been in traffic all race, but there's no doubt AJ Travado, if he's trying to challenge him, he's not able to do it right now, just leaving that half-second gap to the back bumper of the 98. Shepard kind of in a league of his own right now until so improves otherwise, and you know that was the one thing. If he, you know, he probably still isn't happy about the yellow, but one thing he can be happy about is that the driver's on an alternate strategy. If there was a chance that strategy was going to win, it really killed it because he had the 35 who had to take the free pass. He's back up to 11th, but Bailey Turner had to take the wave. He's still on older tires, stuck back at 16, battling with Dakota Floyd, who's in the same situation.
So it was about 20 or so laps before you saw the guys that were overdriving their stuff start to hemorrhage spots. This time, those drivers that lost a lot of positions, like Elliott Butler, like Philip Brewer, they're deep back in this field now. I don't know if that's going to change the way they approach this time from what they had in the first stint. Brewer actually up in 6th position, but go back to Elliott Butler. He's a lap down and struggling here, fighting with the 57 of Floyd.
Elliott Butler, he is a lap down. He's probably trying to get back to Ben Lafter, maybe get the lucky dog, but he's battling a lead lap car. And Floyd, and I think I heard Floyd over the radio say things along the lines of he wasn't happy. And it cost him a lot of time to Bailey Turner, who he is battling for position.
Turner about 0.5 here. Was a lot of ground, but you know, on the flip side, you got Butler who's trying to get up here, like you said, and race with Chris Hodges, Ben Lafter. They're pretty far ahead here.
Yeah, that's really a shot at getting back in the race because, I mean, you probably have one more shot at a wave around because with how bad the tire wear is, I don't think you can stay out on any restart. But definitely trying to get up the Lafter and Hodges. That is the battle for the lucky dog, 15 and 64, and they are bumper to bumper, but not quite battling as much as still pretty single file on this restart. And I think what you were mentioning about drivers having another shot at saving tires, I think that was a good point. You got a lot of drivers who did not know what they were doing with the tires, did not think they would wear that much, and it cost a lot of drivers a lot of time, like the 6 car, the 44 car, 55, those guys who went backwards. This at least gives them a reset, and you know, maybe they're like, okay, now I know what I did wrong, I can right that for this final run and have some speed near the end. And that's what guys like Justin Ritchie are hoping to do. Is yellow really helped him because now he's sitting in 8th. Is pretty stacked up behind Travado right now.
Yeah, within a tenth of a second from second all the way back to Seth Hatchell starting to get into the picture as well, riding on board with Casey Lakatos, up 9 positions.
He's had a pretty underrated run. He really wasn't. He was pretty far up on the 2-stop strategy as well. And you know, I don't believe. I would assume he hadn't hit yet. I'm not sure what the situation was, but he was able to beat lead lap, and he's into the top 5 now. And Seth Hatchell, he was a part of that yellow, but he didn't get any damage out of it. It actually worked in his favor.
Rado staying within a second here, but we really haven't seen where the afterburners come on for Shepard just yet. Seem to be about 25, 30 laps into the run, and that's where he really set sail. This time it looks like another 10th faster. Gonna pull out at 0.8 seconds. Shimano really good in 3 and 4, makes the ground back up a little bit.
We'll just see. I mean, remember last week we saw the 33 really stay close to the 48 of Jeff Wright at Iowa for a long time, and eventually his tires just gave out. You know, maybe the 98's just that much faster. It could be a situation where the 33 is giving him that clean air so he can save his tires. But again, that's what I thought Joshua Banks was doing on the first run of the race, and that just wasn't the case. The 98 was just that much better. So, you know, we'll see if the 33 is actually playing that game next time as battle for 9th was physical. I saw Stefan Davis, John Sanu make contact 2 laps ago, and Joshua Banks closing in on them partially because of it.
I was also about to mention Ray Massey, so we almost see contact again off of turn 2. Stefan Davis probably not very happy with the 86 there, but at the same time, they ran out of room to make that pass.
The 60 kind of has driven him up the track before, right. So I don't think Sanu's really going to care if the 60's mad. I think the 60 probably thinks the 86 is holding him up. The 86 probably thinks the 60's using him up, as they're no love lost right now, as the 86 going to have no grip out of 2. But he's able to stay on that outside of Stefan Davis, but Davis has enough advantage. Maybe he can keep it, but Sanu stuffed it into 3, and this is holding Banks up as well. He's trying to close in on both of them, but I think Sanu overdrove the corner himself.
That allowed Banks and Weekly to catch up to them. So battling here for the top 10 ends up leading them down outside. Going to lose some spots. 35 gets to the inside. They're really tight off of 2.
Oh, nope, they're hitting.
35 not very happy. You can tell the body language of these guys. They're not happy with John Sanu.
I don't know if they're not happy with John Sanu or it's a mix of not being happy with the setup, the track, the race. I mean, Banks was just trying to use up all the room he could. Maybe side draft Sanu down the straight a little bit, but, you know, the margins just weren't there. You know, Banks has been top 3 really all race on pace. Oh, there's contact. It's 86 in the wall, and I think that was Sanu just running out of room, but we saw 35 be really fast, but even John Sanu, who, you know, 35 really hasn't raced for position all race, that pass was still really tough to make before the 86 hit the wall.
As mentioned, Ray Massey was matching lap times with the leader of the race and has caught up to Philip Brewer. You know, quiet day for the 23. Started up in the top 10, hemorrhaged some spots, fell out of it for a little bit. Was on that different strategy. Since then, the one stop looks like it's paid off for all the drivers that are up in the top 10. You know, I think this is going to iron itself out a little bit from what we saw. Maybe we're going to see drivers that were messed over by the yellow following that they'll get back up here, but they're not contending for the win. There's no way the 35 and the 24 are going to get back up here.
I think at this point, I'm not sure Ray Massey cares too much about competing for a win. He just needs a finish. He's down, 38th in points, and his best finish was last week with a 15th at Iowa. He has no other top 15s all season. He needs a quiet day, and he had one last week. It was a solid day. This could be even better, getting his first top 10 of the season. I mean, it is much needed for this team. He's got himself. He's got his spotter on the box for him every single week. It's been a struggle since his last victory. And he needs a race like this really badly.
It's been pretty stagnant here. Bravado did pull away from Kibbe. Kibbe's gotten away from Lakatos, but that accordion from 4th back to 8th continues.
Well, yeah, we saw him gain maybe a 10th the lap before on J.R. Shepard. As that time by, Shepard pulled that 10th back out. He actually it almost looked like he hit the brakes so hard into 1, he got sideways, as he was really sideways. And I would just love to know these guys' rear brake numbers when we get to the end of this race, because I can imagine they probably got to crank all the way down with how the right front seems to be wearing. But it seems like whenever Travado takes something out of that lead, the 98 gets it right back.
99 and Brandon Wallace going to end up losing a lap here. He'll fall down. 19th position. Remember, there's been laughter earlier that Elliott Butler wanted to get around. He did, but he didn't catch up to Michael Jones. He didn't catch up to Chris Hodges. And now Brandon Wallace would be the free pass position.
There's nothing to do about it.
20 laps. That's
20 laps. Shepard's hoping they click off. He does not want to see anyone potentially take 2 or anything like that. Remember, last season we saw chaos. We saw cars flipping on green-white checkers here. He just does not want that to happen again this time around. And, you know, last time by, it was about a 10th and a half Travado took out, but he needs a lot more than that. And needs it consistently. Is all the battling's really for 4th.
Yeah, battle continues from 4th back to 7th place. Ray Massey. There's a little contact with the wall. Brandon Wallace still struggling here, trying to let some guys by. He'll let Kibbe go around. The wall there.
Yeah, he might put the lucky dog spot. Might be back in that lucky dog spot soon. It would be Chris Hodges if he falls that far back. Whoa, there's a wreck in turn 3. Michael Jones got turned by Elliott Butler, and there's no caution for it.
No yellow on the track. Now the 22
That's
of Jones
not gonna be
needs to get it off the racetrack though.
That is crazy. It's not a yellow.
Bring it to pit road.
But his engine went. He can't move. I guess he's just gonna keep it there. I saw Bruin. I was going back looking at the lucky dog battle, and it wasn't a battle anymore. Michael Jones and Butler battling, and right there, slight contact, overcorrect, bam, into the wall. It looked like Ben Lafter got big damage.
Was that Lafter in the 64, or was that the 14?
Yeah, that was Lafter. He was back there.
Okay.
Know where he could go.
Very similar looking cars there, and I guess I just missed it out of the frame. Lafter was also a lap down when this happened, so this is insult to injury here.
Yeah, that's effectively ends his race. Obviously going to be disappointing for him, as he's just going to have to limp it home, as he's not too far ahead of a leader, Shepard, at this point, with a lot of damage. Roy Massey looking to get by Case Lakatos. Top 5 spot. Both drivers would love that top 5. They're side by side out of 4.
That's across the line. This is for 6th spot.
Sorry, that's Lakatos falling back. He was 5th. He lost that spot to Brewer the lap before, and now he's lost another spot. That battle subsided. It's pretty much gotten single file pretty much all the way throughout the field. I feel like the closest cars on track might be Weekly and Sweeting for 12th. Other than that, it's all single file.
Pretty close battle here, but Weekly been an up and down day. Flirting with the top 10 a few times. Gonna stabilize right around 12th spot, still up 5 positions, Sweeting up 8. And in these closing laps, the biggest mover of the race is Stephen Davis in the 60, running 9th, started in 25th position.
Race where it's been hard to pass. He's been able to get through the field with a lot of green flag racing, so props to him if he can hold it there. Still got some laps to go, but
that lead dwindling down a lot. I just watched 2 tenths get shaved there. Servato on the move at 25.576. If he can duplicate that, he would be there in these 10 laps. I don't think he's going to this time, though.
And I saw it in turn 1 on replay again. I don't know what Shepard's doing under braking, but every now and then he gets that car kicked so sideways on the entry to turn 1 that he loses some time because he's just losing so much time, scrubbing speed, getting that sideways. But that time he gained back on the 33. But whatever technique he's using to brake, it's working, but it's sketchy as he gets all the way to the outside wall there out of 4. He is not leaving anything on the table.
Here we're going to work on Seth Hatchell. This is last time by. Actually lost a 10th to Hatchell, but it's caught up a little bit. Looks like through 1 and 2 we'll get within 2 tenths. And we might have a battle for the 4th position in just a moment's time. He's coming up 5 to go.
Saw Lakatos lose another spot to Justin Ritchie. I saw Stephen Davis hit the wall. Joshua Banks might have a shot at him when we get to the end of this race. Caleb Weekly just got passed by Chuck Sweeting for 12th. Max Costa's in that battle as well.
Weekly got passed. Here comes Cost, looking for 13th. 3 cars off the racetrack with Michael Jones and Nathan Ferrano, Mark McFadden. You also have Broderick McLavick, and he's back out on the racetrack now, ended up 8 laps down. 7 car blew a tire and took a little break on repairing that damage. Bill Laughter, who picked up a lot of damage on the front end of his car, still out on the racetrack. Gotta wonder if he might have an overheat issue before we finish this thing out. Continuing to lose ground. It's Shepard by half a second, roughly. He makes another mistake. Travada could be there.
It just takes one mistake, and who knows what could happen. A little bit of a smaller field tonight, but a lot of drivers going to have some good finishes compared to what they've been doing this season. You got Lakatos, who's running 8th. That's on track to be his best finish of the season. Same thing for Max Cost, who's looking to get 13th, as Stephen Davis just lost 10th to Bailey Turner, but 63 trying to get his best finish of the season, too. Is probably the lowest this gap has been all race, is down to half a second. About half a tenth difference between the 98 and 33 that time. There is lap traffic ahead, but it's only the 7 car, and I'm not sure if 33 can break through that air bubble. Bounce off the wall a little bit.
Matt Glavick choosing the bottom lane here, holding up the 98 a lot here.
Yeah, 33 needed a little bit more. I'm shocked the 898's that low on the apron. I'd make sure to get a better arc into a corner, but now Stravado's going to have to deal with the same thing, as Vaclavic not really giving way to either driver here. As next time by 2 to go.
We'll brush with the wall there. Made it closer than maybe the 98 thought it would be.
Definitely closer than he wants to see.
You're the 33 Stravada. You were wanting that 7 to hold him up a little bit longer, at least another turn.
Yeah. I think one more turn, he'd be on his bumper, and who knows what he would do, but I just don't think he can get there.
This time out of 2, used up all of the racetrack, almost brushed the wall. He was a little bit faster through that segment. And a little bit faster into 3, but this is the drive off for the 98.
Got to run.
2 to go.
He's good.
He's got a big run.
Yeah, 2 to go this time by. All of a sudden, I don't know if that 7 threw the 98 off, but he did not get off at 4 very well at all, and Stravado's getting better exits. He drove it hard on exit, had to breathe it just a little bit, but he's in contention for something here.
He's going to send it into 3 and 4. 98 could get a really good drive off here. He will. We might see another send into 1. One more lap here at Rockingham. 1 mile to go in a pretty clean race that was dominated by J.R. Shepard.
Oh, he gave a lot of clean air on the bottom there. Cannot give him that clean air in 3 and 4.
Down to just under 2 tenths. A send
Oh,
here to the inside.
him.
He hits him. If I'm the 98, I'm pinching him down here into the corner. And probably not how they want it to go, but that's how it's going to be.
Oh,
the
I can
98
imagine
not
he
happy.
is not. Yeah, Stravado wins, and the 98 has got to be beside himself with that one. Wow. I did not think he was going to send it in from that far back to hit him, but he did. He led only 1 lap. That's all he needed. And he's got to run away. Oh, my goodness.
Well, this is going to be interesting post-race.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know. I would not. I don't know if I want to be the one to talk to Shepard. Wow. What a finish. What a race. J.R. Shepard's going to park his car at victory lane. The 33 is going to actually go to victory lane. It's been a while. We documented it. It's been over a year in this series since Stravado went to victory lane. I did not think he would get back to victory lane like that. He got as close as he got the entire race. Was on that white flag lap, and I guess he figured he has to go for it. I believe this is going to be maybe coming to the white flag.
There's a number of factors that went into this, too, and I think had the 7 of Vaclavic not held the 98 up.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think one thing that really hurt the 98 here is he did not get to the bottom of 1 and 2. He gives the 33 a lot of clean air, and Travado gets close to the bumper just to use him up. But, Shepard's still okay here, car length ahead. Honestly, I think he's probably not expecting the 33 to even go for it, but, Travado dove in there from over a car length back and, just booted him in the left rear, and at that point, nothing Shepard could do except hang on his door, hope for the best. And it's a tough pill to swallow when you get booted from that far back. And Yeah, I can't imagine Shepard's going to remember that fondly going forward with the 33. That's a tough one.
Post-race interviews with your top three. It's going to be spicy, I'm sure. And you have AJ Stravato in victory lane after one lap to finish this thing out on the final lap. Back with more on VSPEED right after this.
Sebastian Marin, your first repeat top split winner of the qualifying series.
We knew it was just a matter of time. Hunter Sr. is victorious.
Josh Adams taking the win at Iowa. Juicy Spider Motorsports takes home the 1-2-3 finish.
Drivers, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
Introducing Tractor USA, the best way to buy and sell premium ag and construction equipment. Tractor USA was designed to be straightforward, simple, and affordable with zero commission and live auctions every week. Tractor USA auctions offer the finest selection of pre-owned tractors, combines, and other ag and construction equipment from across the United States and the world. Simply go to tractorusa.com to get started today.
Walking and Rolling Costumes started when my son Reese was born with cancer.
So when I was 3 years old, I got my first wheelchair.
And he wanted to be Wall-E for Halloween that year. And so I knew you couldn't buy a costume to go on a wheelchair at that time. So I knew I had to build one.
My dad ended up building a Wall-E costume out of a Dell computer box.
When we were all finished, he loved it. We took pictures of it and shared it on social media. So many people started sharing it that we started getting requests from people we didn't know.
In 2015, we decided to build them for other kids because people were asking, hey, can you build them for my kid?
So we started the nonprofit organization, Walking and Rolling Costumes, and we build costumes for kids all over the nation, free of charge to the families.
Welcome back here to the Rock, Rockingham, North Carolina. Here we are with some fireworks to finish this race off. It was clean, it was green, all the way up until that last lap, and I think clean went out the window. Final race results up on the screen. They don't tell the whole story. AJ Stravato getting the victory. He led one lap, the final one here tonight. It's how he got that pass done. Controversial finish. But you have J.R. Shepard, who dominated this race, led over 3/4 of it. He ends up in second spot as they battled hard out of 3 and 4. We'll get a word with Kenny Kibbe and those drivers in just a moment's time in the top 3. Pep Hatchell will finish out here in 4th position. You have Philip Brewer in the top 5. Brewer, I mean, the reset for the caution coming out really bailed the 44 out. He ends up getting a better finish. He hemorrhaged all the way out of the top 10 at one point. Ray Massey is going to finish out in 6th spot. Quiet night, what he needed. Justin Ritchie, your pole sitter here tonight, ends up back to 7th. Casey Laconis is going to finish in 8th. Joshua Banks and Bailey Turner, those drivers that got caught off with the caution, they get back to the top 10 just barely.
And just barely for a lot of those guys. Stephen Davis almost got back by Turner. Turner, it was a great drive on older tires to get back to 10th. Same thing he did last week. I kept saying he took tires at Iowa. He did not. He just drove through the field. Stephen Davis tried to get him back, couldn't. P11 for him. Chuck Sweeting ends up in 12th. Caleb Weekly, 13, finishes 13th. Not too horrible for them. Dakota Floyd ends up in the 14th spot. Could have been a lot better. Max Koss, best finish of the season, gets that top 15 finish after starting 20th. Bryce Shoemaker, 16th, who was pretty far up on the two-stop and got really bit by that yellow that came out. John Sanu ends up 17th. Austin Belke, didn't talk about him a lot. Quiet Day in 18th. Brandon Wallace and Christopher Hodges finished 19th and 20th. Those are two of the drivers who had struggles with the right front tire going down, and they ended up with top 20s.
There you go for the rest of this field, but I mean, we got to get to it. This was a lot of, I'm sure, words exchanged here in the post race. I'm sure that we'll have both takes, both opinions on what happened there. But first, we're going to pull in our race winner, AJ Stravato, who is somewhere in the Discord here. We're going to try to find him in the number 33. I think he's hanging out with Sad Boys here. So we'll move him to the broadcast booth. Connor Horn is caught up with the race winner.
And we do have Stravato. It's been a while in this series, AJ. March 2025, it was on the road at Mosport. And before that, on the oval, it was September, I believe, 2024 at Indianapolis. You only led one lap, but you broke through. Before we get to any of the race, I got to obviously ask you about what went down in turn 3 and what your thought process was trying to get them a 98 for the win those last 5 laps with the 7 in play and all that.
Yeah, first I got to... JR owes me one. That's for sure. He definitely owes me one, but it's the last lap. Everybody's done it to me in the past. I've been the victim of that many times before. Not justifying it, but it's the last lap, and I want to win. So I'm gonna do whatever I can. I was catching him. We were rolling the bottom really well. Just needed a long run to really get moving, but. Yeah, I went into 3, and the last 20 laps, that's where I was really gaining time on entry. So I was just under 2/10 behind him, and that was 2/10 or less is fair game. So I went in there and sent it in, honestly, a little bit more aggressively than I normally do, but the bottom like I knew I would, and yeah, I just didn't cover the bottom completely. So I got into him, and we just raced it out at the end. So I know JR is definitely probably not happy with me. I don't blame him at all, but we're going for the win, and I'd fully expect the same thing if I was in his shoes. So
obviously, crazy finish after what was kind of a crazy race with strategies. I believe you were on the 1-stop with JR, had some drivers on the 2-stop there, and obviously the fall off was big, and it didn't seem like a lot of drivers had a right front tire. How tough was it doing the 1-stop, having to do 75 lap stints, having to manage that tire?
Yeah, you had to run, excuse my French, like a bitch the first 30 laps just to get it to really keep traction the rest of the run. So I was just committed. I qualified in the back yet again, just didn't have the short run speed to fire off the start of the race. So I just committed to saving tires, and about 25, 30 laps in is where you could really start making ground. So I just stayed committed to that. I don't think the strategy would have worked out, to be honest with you. I think Josh and Bailey had a net gain during their pit cycle, so it would have been interesting to see. Obviously, for races to play out organically, but when it works out in my favor, I'm not complaining. So it's good to be on the right side of strategy for once.
You're on the right side of strategy. You're on the right side of the result tonight. And like we mentioned, it's been a while in this series since getting the victory. And obviously, you've had some close calls. Really, the past month, you've had close calls. You were very fast at Auto Club about a month ago, fast at Phoenix. And then the last 2 weeks, you've got second to Martinsville, and you were close to victory at Iowa. You were able to break through. How much of the move on the final lap kind of fueled by that hunger? Because it has been a while in this series.
Yeah, I'm always going to go for the win, but the last 6 months in general and just life and sim racing, I was probably a little bit more aggressive than I think I normally would have been, but I think that's just how you got to race nowadays. So I'm tired of coming in second. I think I have a lot of good speed, and not always get the results I show in different leagues and here. So if I get an opportunity to go for a win, I'm gonna damn sure send it. So.
Well, you definitely sent it for sure, and you sent it, I would say, right somewhere into the standings. I was trying to maybe see where you were in the standings. P3 unofficially after that, so worked in your favor. Top 10s in 6 of the 8 races you started, and you're on a roll and finally get that first victory of the season, the first victory in a while. Anyone else you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, just I think if my buddy Bobby's watching, I can't believe we won. Nexus Esports for all they do. Aftermark Coffee, Lucky Ducks Motorsports, and all the guys that support me. Give me good feedback, keep me going. It's I appreciate it, and I don't take it for granted. So thank you.
Well, it's better than a battle for P13. It was a battle for first, and you came out on top in that battle. AJ, thanks for talking to us, and we will see you, I believe, in a week when we go to, I believe, New Atlanta this time around. So New Atlanta next week. Thanks for talking to us. See you next week.
Thank you, man. Looking forward to racing you in area.
Yep. Hopefully I'll win 13th.
You too, man. Take care.
Yep. That's one side of the story. I mean, we kind of touched on it. It's been on an oval. It's been what? It would add up to about maybe 20 months in this series since he's gone to victory lane. So when you're that close, you gotta go for it, I would say. And that's definitely what he felt about it. That's one side of it. But I said, I don't know if I want to be the one to interview Jared Shepard, and I don't have to be the one to do that, Bradley. I believe you're going to have him somewhere.
Yep, I'm pulling him up now, and there's always 3 sides to every story. Their side, your side, and the truth. So give it to us. How did you see that finish out there? Shepard, I know you dominated this race, and that one's another one that it's going to be in our minds for a while.
Yeah, for sure. I don't, just to be honest, don't have a whole lot of nice things to say about it. So, um, don't really know, guys. Obviously, that's not going to be a penalty. It's not what this league does. I was able to save my car, so I guess the answer was I should have wrecked my car, so it would have been a penalty. But obviously, second time that's happened to me while leading, and wins are extremely hard to come by in this league. So, super disappointed with that. Especially when you got family watching at home and you're taking time away from your family to run this. So, just want to say thank you to my family, allowing me to do things like this, take time away from them. They don't have to do that, but they allow me to. And unfortunately, just wasn't meant to be tonight.
Well, we go back to the one-stop strategy that you pulled, and then we had that caution fall the way it did. It took the 35 and the 24 out of the picture and introduced some new names behind you. Now, I want to ask another question for you. There were some frustrating moments prior to that contact on the final lap. We had some lap traffic in front of you. We actually have it on the screen. Any frustrations there?
Not really. I mean, because every time you caught another car, obviously when you had the clean air, you had more downforce, so the car handled better. Anytime you caught a lap car, it didn't really matter where they were. It would slow you down a little bit, but it was the same for both of us. So I didn't really have any frustration there because he was going to have to deal with it too. So I felt like everything on that side was fair. And obviously going into the last lap, if I'd known that was going to happen going into turn 3, I would have driven a lot harder through 1 and 2. I was probably a little bit conservative, but it was more than enough, assuming you're not going to get ran over. So frustrated with that, but obviously, I guess when you have a little bit of a reputation of being a clean driver, you get raced different. So I guess I'm going to have to change that reputation a little bit.
Well, JR, we heard you thank your family. Is there anybody else that comes to mind here? I know this is going to hurt to hear, but second place here after 126 laps led.
Yeah, just again, my family, appreciate what they did. We had a fun day today, and they allowed me to come home and do this instead of spending Saturday night with them. So really appreciate that. A group of guys that we hang out with in Discord, we help each other out. I feel like each and every week, and really cool to have a group of people that's behind you for sure. So appreciate everything they do, and of course you guys in the broadcast booth. You do a fantastic job, and we appreciate it, guys.
Appreciate you coming up here and keeping it civil. I know we as broadcasters like to see that kind of stuff, but I think keeping the cards close to you here and just keep your head down, do what you've been doing. we'll see how it goes. We have another week of racing coming up, and we'll see you there at Echo Park.
All right, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Air Shepherd, second place here. Now I'm curious because we have Kenny Kibbe coming up next, and I believe they are teammates, at the very least, hanging out in the same Discord channel. So I'm curious if, the guy that maybe doesn't have to filter himself, maybe he can have an opinion about it. It's your third place finisher, Kenny Kibbe. Well, different strategies, different race. I mean, the second half compared to the first half was a complete flip. So you get a podium finish, but we've been asking everybody. We all have opinions. What do you think of that finish?
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I think it's pretty ridiculous looking at the replay. I mean, the 33 just totally overdrives the corner and runs into the back of the 98. I mean, it's pretty clear cut. It didn't look as bad just because the 98 saved his car and was able to get to the finish line, but yeah, that was pretty rough. But all in all, for the 14 crew, we had a pretty good race today. And a nice bounce back after Iowa. Iowa was statistically my worst track and continues to be, so I'm glad to get by that. And I think maybe we take the points lead today because some guys didn't show up. So I'm happy with our finish. I would have been interested to see how things would play out with the different strategies if we stayed green, but I think we were maximum a third place car today, so I'm happy with the third.
Yeah, we go back, talk about the start of this race. We weren't sure if the fall off would be enough to justify 2 stops. A few drivers committed to that. 35, the 24, 57, all kind of came down around the lap 50 mark. And you guys just continued to say, okay, we're going to keep doing this strategy. Now, the caution coming out where it did, do you think had that not happened, you would have ended up back in third anyway? Or do you think that maybe you could have got 1 or 2 better?
Well, I mean, the fact that, JR and AJ were on the same strategy as me, and, they came out of the pits obviously ahead of me on that one pit stop we did. So, I don't think I would have caught them. I could hang with them pretty evenly, but I couldn't do any better than that. So I think third place is going to be my maximum for the day. But I just I chose that strategy because I was worried about being a lap down for a long period of time. And if you pit in extra time, you're going to go a lap down. And that's what caught out, guys like Dakota and Bailey and Josh when that caution came out, because when the pit cycles are going on, that's when it's high likelihood that we could get a caution, and we got one. So I figured we could make it to halfway, so I would just, take it easy and try to save tires. But boy, the setup was terrible tonight. Way, way too tight. Couldn't do anything with it. It was definitely a challenge.
Jimmy, we appreciate you coming up here and talking to us. Congrats on the podium finish, and looks like the new points leader here. So ultimately, with this situation, you're going to carry it into Echo Park Speedway. Looking pretty good here by week 8. Anybody want to shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody at SNR for coming together every week and doing these races. We didn't have any actual admins today, but everything went pretty smoothly in the session, so that was pretty cool. Thanks to you guys at VSPEED for the broadcasts. Thanks to my teammates for hanging out and racing as always. And thanks to everybody that watches and rides on board with me every week.
Kenny Kibbe, third place here at Rockingham. We'll see you in a week.
See ya.
Well, Connor, the fireworks will continue, and there's going to be a race coming up that I think if there was a place that you could get back at somebody and, make it look like an accident. Unfortunately, this place is bad fast, and everyone's going to be right on top of one another. That's, of course, going to be April 25th for week 9 at Echo Park. And this is a whole different ballgame at this place.
Yeah, we've never gone to actual Echo Park. I mean, we've always gone to the old one, and we will go to the old one, I believe, later in the season, but a whole new ball game, going to the repave, the resurface, retool, whatever you want to call it, a brand new racetrack, races like a super speedway. It's just as wide, not as wide even as a mile and a half, so it will be a crazy race, whether it's a hot and slick track under the lights, whatever they decide to do with the weather. It's going to be a crazy one. And yeah, if there's a place for fireworks to go off, I wasn't expecting it to be tonight. It was kind of, we had 26 cars, kind of quiet, one yellow, and then bang, everything goes off on the final lap. Is it fair or foul in the 33? It's up for, obviously, the fans on VSPEED to decide, the drivers to decide, and ultimately J.R. Shepard will decide how he wants to handle that. I got a feel for J.R. a little bit. Remember, since his last victory at Kentucky, he was fast at Martinsville. Last season, he got taken out late. He had led a lot of laps, 107 laps this season. Martinsville came up just short, and he led all but, 25 laps, and he just came up short with the contact. And he wasn't happy. His teammates weren't happy, so don't be surprised that 33 gets raced a lot differently as the season goes. And we got 14 races to go, something like that. So a long way to go. It's pretty early to be messing with people like that, but ultimately, you heard it from Stravado himself. When you got a chance at the win, you go for it, and it's what he did, and he got it today.
Appreciate all of you coming out and watching tonight's broadcast. If you did like tonight's action, if you agree or disagree, we still got more racing left to be done. A long season here for Saturday Night Racing League. For M&J Distributors, all of the people that helped put this together, for Adam Baker, my co-host Connor Horn, this is Bradley Cooper saying so long from Rockingham. We'll see you in 1 week's time at Atlanta. Stay tracking, everybody.